Was just dragged up the street, and she's not responding. She's breathing, but she's not physically responding, like unable to talk. She's got breast burns all over her. She was literally dragged almost a block and a half.
Welcome to another episode of Completely Evil, where we will explore some of the most chilling, heartbreaking, and viral cases from around the country. Today, I'll tell you a story that took place in the city of New Orleans. I absolutely adore New Orleans. However, the level of violence that seems to be replacing some of the wonderful qualities that New Orleans possesses is starting to become more of mainstream news than the food and history in itself. This is the story of Linda Frickey, a woman whose life was taken in a horrible carjacking. Linda Frickey was 73 years old when she was murdered on March 21st, 2022. She was a mother, a grandmother, and an innocent woman. What happened to Miss Linda was not just a carjacking, it was brutality. It was completely evil. This happened between 4 and 5 p.m. in the evening. Miss Linda had just gotten off work. She had put a couple of boxes in the trunk of her car and was sitting in the driver's seat strapped in when she was approached by 4 people. Her keys were demanded. They sprayed her in the face with mace, stomped her, beat her, and pushed her out of the car. However, she was still partially strapped in by her seatbelt. She was then dragged. Miss Linda was dragged to what they say was that equal to 2 football fields until her arm was completely severed. They left her in the streets bleeding. Witnesses were yelling at the carjackers, telling them to stop. One even attempted to block the car in, but they managed to maneuver around them and escape. Miss Linda was rushed to the hospital where she died from her injuries.
8 people are stunned, scared, and heartbroken. WGN's Anna McAllister is live in Mid-City. Anna.
Kerr, earlier this afternoon, I spoke to the employer of the victim, who identified her as 73-year-old Linda Frickey, who was a longtime employee of the insurance company that you see behind me, Security Plan Insurance. And just a short while ago, we got a email from the NOPD of video of people of interest in this case, and those are the folks that you're going to see coming up in the story.
I'm never going to unsee those images now.
A quiet spring afternoon in Mid-City quickly turned into an unspeakable nightmare.
Noticed some screaming, and like a lot of screaming. A lady was getting drugged down the street. I think she got sort of wrapped up in the wheel well of the vehicle. According
to the NOPD, an elderly woman was sitting in her car near the intersection of North Pierce and Bienville Tuesday afternoon when 4 suspects approached and carjacked her. Witnesses say they watched as the victim's arm was ripped off as she was dragged down the street.
We were covering her up because her clothes came off, and you could tell she was struggling to breathe. Her arm was 20 feet away from where she landed.
One witness says he tried to stop the suspects as the woman laid suffering.
She looked up at me like, helpless, like, please do something. And I tried to, like I said, I was in my truck. I put it in reverse, tried to block them in, and they were already gone. They weaved in and out of the cars and got away.
The employer of the victim tells WGNO she was 73-year-old Linda Frickey, a 30-year employee of Security Plan Insurance. Her employer, who was too distraught to go on camera, described Frickey as a saint.
It's just devastating, especially the torture she had to go through. I hope that she went to heaven right away.
Those who witnessed the ruthless crime are shocked and shaken and hope that those who are responsible pay for what they did.
I hope they go to jail for murder for the rest of their lives. I don't care if it's kids or not.
Again, the folks that you saw in those videos, those are the people of interest in this case that police are looking for, and so far, no arrests have been made. Kurt.
Anna.
Do you guys ever get secondhand embarrassment from situations that have absolutely nothing to do with you? I do. And most specifically when they are black. I looked at that video and I feel angry, sad, disgusted, and embarrassed for my race. This lady did nothing but simply get off work, something their little roguish asses should have been doing. You guys watch the video, pay attention. Watch him mace her. Watch him punch her over and over again. Just pathetic. The following day, on March 22nd, 4 teenagers had been identified and were arrested on second-degree murder charges. 17-year-old John Honoré and 3 15-year-old girls, Brenia Baker, Marquel Curtis, and Lanira Theophile. One of the girls and John Honoré, they were turned in by their parents. To the little girls, what were y'all doing? At 15, you didn't want to sit on the phone with a little boy, make TikToks, play in makeup, go to cheerleading practice. You wanted to thug. Okay, yeah, got it. John Honoré was the one who maced her, beat her, and he was also the driver.
Juveniles arrested for yesterday's fatal carjacking.
A law enforcement source says police arrested 17-year-old John Honoré and 3 15-year-old females, Brenia Baker, Marquel Curtis, and Lanira Theophile. Fox 8 also just obtained the video of the horrific death that has shocked the metro area. Natasha Robin has more.
To me, it was meditated. I mean, they knew what they were doing, and then it was done. It was a choice that we're going to do this.
4 juveniles now in custody for the horrific murder of 73-year-old Linda Frickey.
It looked like a crime of opportunity.
Frickey worked for Rick Hodges as a life insurance agent for 30 years.
She was a great employee. You know, it was hard to go back and think about it, how this would happen to somebody like her.
A law enforcement source says police arrested 17-year-old John Honoré and 3 15-year-old females, Brenia Baker, Marquel Curtis, and Lanira Theophile. Chief Sean Ferguson says they're charged with second-degree murder after carjacking and dragging Frickey to her death. Hodges and other witnesses told Fox 8 it was the male suspect who first attacked Frickey, possibly with mace.
And that's when he rushed her. He tried to pull her out of the car, seemed to be struggling with that, and as he was pulling her out, you could see where he started to physically assault her, basically.
He says during the attack, Frickey became stuck in the seatbelt as the teens drove away, dragging her from North Scott to Bienville and onto North Pierce.
You could hear her screaming.
Frickey's arm was eventually severed and her body laid in the middle of the street.
It's disgusting. I'm going to keep reliving that, God knows how long.
Many now hope the teens will be charged as adults, including Chief Sean Ferguson.
I would say absolutely. I mean, look at the nature of the crime. Look at what we're facing. I mean, brazenness, broad daylight, with no regards to this woman hanging from the vehicle.
DA Jason Williams released a statement calling the crime unthinkable and said any and all persons that the evidence shows participated in the murder of this elder will be prosecuted to the absolute fullest extent of the law.
They're preying on older women and older people and people that can't defend themselves. It's just like, it's cowardly.
People in this area say they want justice for what happened, but they're also hoping change will come from the horrific murder. In Mid-City, Natasha Robin, Fox 8, Local First.
You guys, I've asked this question before. I need you to drop your responses in the comments. Would you support your kids in this situation? Or are you a parent who would still support their kids no matter what they did? If they admitted that they did this to this 73-year-old woman, would you support them? Would you have turned your kid in? Or do you say, nah, you've made your bed, now lay in it? Miss Linda's husband is suing the parents. What are your thoughts on that? Should the parents be to blame? Should they have been watching their kids more carefully? John Honoré, he actually had been carjacking other cars too. He has a history. The 3 girls pled guilty right before the jury selection was to start. John Honoré did not plead guilty. He decided to go to trial, and I'm pretty sure you can guess how that turned out.
Good afternoon, I'm Lily Cummings. Thank you for watching WWL Louisiana. 3 teenagers have pleaded guilty for their roles in the violent carjacking that killed Linda Frickey. The incident happened more than a year and a half ago in March 2020. The entire city was shocked by the video of the carjacking where Linda can be seen dragged by her own car. The 3 teens made their pleas this morning right before jury selection was set to begin for their trial. Mike McDaniel was in criminal court all morning and joins us now with those details. Mike.
Hey there, Lily. Family members of Linda Frickey told me they were pretty much surprised by these plea deals, but that they are very happy that these 3 teens have now finally admitted their guilt in this case. 17-year-old Bernaya Baker, 16-year-old Lanira Theophile, and Markel Curtis all pleaded guilty to a lesser charge of attempted manslaughter and were sentenced to 20 years. Now, they will be given credit for time served since this crime initially happened, and they will be held in juvenile detention until they become adults. They were initially charged as adults with second-degree murder and faced a life sentence.
I think they really were sincere in their apology, and we appreciate that they did admit their guilt, accept their punishment, and hopefully as time goes on everyone can heal.
Breaking news, a jury just returned a guilty verdict in the brutal carjacking that killed 73-year-old Linda Frickey last year. Good evening, I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm Lauren McCoy. Jurors unanimously convicted 18-year-old John Honore of second-degree murder. And we just heard from Linda Frickey's family and the district attorney.
Maddie Kurth and David Jones are live at criminal court with the breaking details.
Lee and Lauren, that unanimous vote is in this one-day trial, ultimately deciding the fate of John Honore. Now, this all started with John Honore's defense attorney admitting that his client was guilty, but he hoped that his argument that his client was a, quote, idiot kid would be enough for the jury to show some mercy in his conviction. Now, the Frickey family surrounded the steps of the courthouse after the verdict was announced. It was an intense day at the courthouse. The district attorney's office walking the jury through each step of John Honore's alleged involvement in Linda Frickey's death, showing graphic images of the injuries Frickey sustained when Honore got behind the wheel and dragged her 700 feet into a wire, severing her arm. Now remember, Honore is the final teen to face conviction. Last week, Bernaya Baker, Lanira Theophile, and Markel Curtis all pled guilty to the lesser charge of attempted manslaughter. They each face a 20-year prison sentence as part of the deal. But the family says Linda Frickey would be smiling down on them now, celebrating the news and proud that they stood by her for more than 18 months. They say they want Honore and the 3 accomplices to feel every second of their sentence.
To even walk here today and still hear the plea of innocent was insulting. I hope he feels the fear that she had in her heart that day. I hope he feels the pain. And when he hears his own self screaming for mercy and it don't come.
A sentencing date has been set for January 12, 2024. Honore will face a life sentence with the possibility of parole after 25 years.
I agree with her. That's very insulting. Like, why did you make them relive that? You knew the injuries that she sustained. If you were truly sorry, you knew they were going to convict you. So why make them go through that? Why not just plead guilty? That's my opinion on it. I don't know. Would you fight to the end knowing that they were going to convict you? Why did he do that? It absolutely makes no sense. And then I read somewhere where, he was making phone calls out and it's like he didn't care. He was rapping on the phone about the incident, just super ignorant. New Orleans has one of the highest carjacking rates in the country. I applaud the NOPD for the hard work they put in to get Linda's family the justice that they truly deserve. My thoughts and prayers go out to them. Please share your thoughts on this case and feel free to reach out to me with any feedback and or suggestions on this case as well as any upcoming cases. Until next time, please stay safe out there and remember the victims who aren't here to tell their stories. And don't forget to subscribe, you guys. Seriously. No, like seriously, do it right now. See y'all next time. Bye.